Hello, and welcome to another installment of Vivaldi Systems Follow Point of Sale Dry Cleaning Software. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about access control and security. And the reason you would use this is if you have several people working in your store and you want to limit control to certain individuals. So in other words, you've got counter people that only need to write ticket, pick up ticket, get to customers, edit ticket, or close out the drawer at the end of the day. But you want to limit your counter people from getting into the delivery module, accounts receivable, change prices, run reports, etc. The other thing that access control does is before every transaction, your people need to enter a PIN. That's usually a 3-digit, 4-digit number. Numbers work better. You can use anything, but numbers work a lot better. And what that will do is store in the transaction history of every ticket and customer who did what when. So you know that Susie wrote the ticket at 10 o'clock. John assigned it a location 444 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then Susie picked it up for the customer at 5 o'clock. So to turn on transaction tracking and access control, we start by going to Utilities and going to User Manager. It's very important you do this in order. So User Manager will allow you to set up your various users in your store. Now, Vivaldi always comes with one user. When our technicians set you up, you're going to find a general login. Usually the general login password is 1234. And that's going to be standard. And you're also going to find that when Vivaldi first is set up by our technicians, that general login has access to everything. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to the general login first, which is ID 1, and you're going to turn off access to top menu, turn off the management, and turn off access to everything for that general login. That way, if your users try to use 1234, nothing will happen. They won't have access to anything. The general login is used to open up the program, and we'll talk about that in a second. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save. Always make a save after you make a change. You're going to notice that general login is user ID 1, the pin's 1234, they have access to nothing. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to set up a user. Now you'll see here in the example we have Mario and we have Danny, but let's look at sample counter person. Now this counter person has a unique ID of 5, and those IDs have to be different for each of your users as well as the pins. Okay, so the sample counter person is ID 5, and all you do is press add, enter 5, enter their name, and give them a unique pin. Now for the counter person, typically you're not going to give access to the top menu. The top menu is the reports and the utilities, and you want to limit what they can do. So I'm going to allow my counter person to write ticket, pick up ticket, edit ticket, and go into the customer management. That's changing addresses and phone numbers. I also want them to Z out the drawer at the end of the day and mark tickets ready and assign locations, but I don't want to give them access to change pricing, changing store configuration or delivery or inventory, etc. So after you make this change, you hit save and you click OK. Now, what's very important is that you create a manager. And once you've created the counter person with ID 5555, the manager is ID 6. Okay. Now the manager, you're going to put a unique ID, put the manager's name. You can have multiple managers, give them a unique PIN, and then give the manager access to the top menu and the manager option. Plus give them access to everything if you want everything available. Enterprise access is only if you have multiple stores and you want the manager to access reports from different stores from their login. So once you make that change, hit save and click OK. Now at this point you can see you can go add other users. So I created a Danny. Now even though they're email address is in here, that is not the email address used to log into the store. To log into the store is always the general login email address. Okay? But if you look at Danny, you can see the email address. Danny has a unique PIN, has a unique ID. Somebody chose to disable Danny from being able to void tickets, and you'll see that there's additional disable security codes here. If you want to put in multiple codes and you want Danny to not have the ability to assign coupons to tickets, then you put a comma in and do disable coupons, and you need to spell it exactly the way it's spelt on the right. And then you can assign Danny to whatever you want Danny to do. I don't want them to change prices or change store information or delivery or get to hotels, and I don't want them to get to accounts and to the credit card. So then I'm going to hit save. Once you've done this, you can hit close. Then you need to turn on security. To do this, you go to the store manager, you edit your store, go to the general tab, and click on use login for every transaction, then hit save. Now the moment you do that and you close, it's going to require a login. Now if I log in as 66666, that's the manager. In the upper left hand corner it says manager. I have access to the top menus. I have access to all the functions. Now, once I as a manager complete whatever transaction I'm doing, like let's say I want to run a cash drawer report and I hit close, it's going to require the user to log in again. So at this point, I'm done doing my cash drawer transaction or whatever I wanted to do, and I walk away. Leave this password counter user password window open when you walk away. Okay? That way the next user comes in and can type their PIN, can press enter, then they get to choose whatever they're allowed to choose. So if I want to pick up tickets, I can go to the pick up ticket window, I can search for a customer, pick up, and when I'm done, it asks for the next user to log in. If that's a manager, the manager enters, they have access to everything. If you accidentally log in and decide you don't want to do anything, just hit the key in the blue circle in the upper right hand corner. That will open up the login and then walk away. The login window also allows you to clock in and clock out. It's a very simplified clocking system. It just records when you clock in and when you clock out. And under the user manager, under utilities, a manager can get reports of each user and when they clocked in and clocked out for whatever date or date range they enter. It will not calculate hours. It will not calculate how much money to pay them, but it will tell you when they clocked in and clocked out and give you a report so the manager can utilize that. Now, if you exit Vivaldi, you're going to notice that when you click the Vivaldi icon and it asks permission to run, you're going to get the general login. This is the general password. Remember, we set that up as 1234. Then when you click login, or maybe we didn't, 1234, then the next thing it asks you is to enter the current user password. So I'm going to log in as 6666, and now I'm logged in as the manager. Okay, that's the end of the access control video. I hope it was useful, and we'll see you in the next video.